Ice Cube, because Ice Cube has come out and given everybody some brutal truth. Sorry, Angel Reese, the $5 million offer was only for Caitlin Clark.
Imagine throwing your biggest event of the season, decorating your arena pink, calling it Barbie Night, and hyping up your star player, Angel Reese, only for her not to even step foot on the court. Now imagine getting completely embarrassed by your biggest rival, the Indiana Fever, on the very same night in your own building. Sounds painful, right? Well, that's exactly what happened to the Chicago Sky, and fans are calling it the most humiliating night of the season. But was this really an upset? Or did the Fever just finally expose the biggest fake rivalry in women's basketball? Everyone loves a good rivalry. Magic versus Bird, Jordan versus the Pistons, LeBron versus Steph. Rivalries drive the hype, boost ticket sales, and ignite social media, but only when they're real. ESPN and social media have been trying hard to sell us on women's basketball's newest great rivalry, Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese. They want us to believe we're watching two young superstars battling for supremacy, game after game, in an intense matchup that fans can't miss. But here's
personal, but it was business. That's all it is, business. Y'all gonna make it personal though.
the catch. When you actually look at what's happening on the court, it's clear that this so-called rivalry doesn't exist. In fact, the latest showdown was anything but competitive. The Indiana Fever walked straight into Chicago on Barbie Night, with no Angel Reese, no Caitlin Clark, and still handed the Sky a brutal 93-78 defeat. Fans watched helplessly as the Fever turned Chicago's big event into a celebration of their own, prompting social media to rename the entire event Fever Night. But this embarrassing result wasn't a fluke. It's becoming a trend, one the media desperately wants to keep under wraps. Numbers don't lie, and in this case, they tell a story the media doesn't want you to hear. Over the past 2 seasons, the Indiana Fever haven't just beaten the Chicago Sky, they've completely dominated them, winning 6 of their last 7 matchups. This season alone, Indiana has crushed Chicago by a staggering 77 combined points across 3 meetings.
Caitlin Clark went to Chicago and took the city over. It looked like she took the city over. CC with MJ. CC get treated like MJ in the rack. Oh my God.
Think about that. 77 points isn't just winning, it's systematically dismantling your opponent game after game. The breakdown is brutal. Indiana won the first game by 35 points, the second by 27, and now this latest Barbie Night humiliation by another comfortable 15-point margin. Forget rivalry. This is starting to look like target practice. Yet, despite these consistently lopsided results, everyone still pretends this is some epic competitive matchup. Yes, why? Because rivalries sell. Angel Reese versus Caitlin Clark is great marketing, but it stops being believable when only one team consistently shows up. The Fever keep proving their dominance, and the Sky keep providing opportunities for embarrassment, hoping the narrative might magically change. So why does the media keep pushing this narrative? Simple. Drama sells. Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese are 2 of the most marketable names in the WNBA right now.
For Ice Cube, they're about to come and get Ice Cube. We know how this works. It won't be long.
They're young, talented, polar opposites in personality and playing style, and their college history adds fuel to every matchup. It's the perfect storyline. Iowa versus LSU, now reborn as Indiana versus Chicago. ESPN builds it up, Twitter runs with it, TikTok floods with clips. Everyone plays along because it's entertaining. But here's the uncomfortable truth. None of it matches what's happening on the court. While the media keeps feeding us headlines about the next great rivalry, the Fever just keep winning. And not by a little, by a lot. No last-second buzzer beaters, no nail-biters, just blowout after blowout. The real story isn't about a rivalry. It's about one franchise building a contender while the other keeps falling flat. And the more Chicago tries to hype up these events, scheduling games at premium arenas, throwing theme nights, centering promotions around Angel Reese, the worse it looks when they get exposed. Over and over again.
TMZ Sports caught up with Ice Cube himself at LAX this week. And the Big 3 honcho said that there will be no deal put in front of Angel Reese anytime soon.
Barbie Night was supposed to be Chicago's big moment. The Sky booked the United Center, a premium venue typically reserved for the biggest games, decorated it in pink, launched exclusive merch, and built the entire event around Angel Reese's Barbie persona. It was a marketing masterclass on paper. There was just one problem. Angel Reese didn't even play. Instead, the Indiana Fever walked in without their star, Caitlin Clark, and turned the night into their personal highlight reel. From the opening tip, it was clear who the better team was. Fans expecting a feel-good home win watched in disbelief as the Fever dismantled Chicago in front of their own crowd. And it didn't stop there. Social media erupted. Memes flooded Instagram and Twitter. Fans renamed the event Fever Night. TikTok videos mocked the promo efforts, with users joking it should have been called Mitchell Night after Kelsey Mitchell torched Chicago for 35 points.
So, Ice Cube, you see the headline from TMZ. Sorry, Angel Reese, the $5 million offer was only for Caitlin Clark.
What was meant to be a celebration of Chicago's biggest star turned into a full-blown embarrassment. The pink lights, the Barbie branding, the special venue, all became the backdrop for yet another Indiana beatdown, and it only got worse from there. If there was any doubt about who owned the night, Kelsey Mitchell erased it. With Caitlin Clark sidelined, Mitchell took the spotlight and absolutely exploded, dropping a season-high 35 points on 12 of 19 shooting, including a jaw-dropping 7 for 10 from 3. That's 70% from deep on the road in a sold-out arena designed to hype up the other team. And it wasn't just a flashy scoring night, it was historic. Mitchell became only the second player in Indiana Fever history to record 35-plus points, 5-plus assists, and 5-plus three-pointers in a single game.
What happened to Miss Angel Reese? She's all in Indiana during All-Star, and her Reebok campaign, come to your trap, take over your trap.
The only other name in that club, Caitlin Clark. That's elite company. Mitchell played with poise, aggression, and full control. Every shot felt intentional. Every possession calculated. She stepped into a role that demanded leadership and delivered one of the most efficient, dominant performances of the entire WNBA season. Fans started calling her Money Mitch, and for good reason. When the lights were brightest, she put Chicago in a ditch. This wasn't just a big night, it was a statement, and it made one thing very clear. The Fever don't just survive without Caitlin Clark, they thrive. Kelsey Mitchell wasn't alone in dismantling the Sky. Indiana's rising stars came ready to make noise too. Rookie Michaela Timpson stepped into the moment and delivered the best game of her young career. She dropped 14 points on an insane 75% shooting.
This is confirmation from the people that want to pay the money. Sponsors.
Hitting 6 of her 8 shots with confidence and control. Every time she got minutes this season, she's made the most of them, and this night was no exception. After the game, Mitchell praised Timpson as the ultimate pro, someone who shows up, stays ready, and delivers without drama. It's that quiet confidence, that steady presence, that makes a real difference in close games. And Timpson didn't just show up on offense, she was everywhere on defense too, poking passes, creating fast breaks, and frustrating Chicago's rhythm all night long. Then there was Chloe Bibby, Indiana's newest signing, who had barely put on a Fever jersey before draining 2 massive threes and putting up 8 points in just 10 minutes. Signed to a 7-day contract just days earlier, Bibby came in and stretched the floor like she'd been on the roster all season. Coach Stephanie White called her an instant fit, exactly the kind of spark every good team needs off the bench. Together, Timpson and Bibby proved Indiana's depth isn't hype, it's real. Even their newest and youngest players came in, stayed locked in, and contributed to a complete team win. While Chicago relied on big names that didn't even suit up, Indiana's under-the-radar talent ran the show. While the spotlight rightfully landed on Mitchell, Timpson, and Bibby, the backbone of Indiana's dominance was Aaliyah Boston. Once again, she delivered a complete performance that went far beyond the stat sheet. Boston recorded her 3rd straight double-double with 14 points and 11 rebounds, but that was just the beginning. She added 6 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks, showing why she's one of the most well-rounded players in the league. Whether it was altering shots, running the floor, or finding open teammates with pinpoint passes, Boston impacted every possession. Chicago had no answer for her presence. She was everywhere, and she made it look effortless. Lexi Hull also stepped up in key moments, hitting big shots whenever the Sky tried to make a run. Her timing and confidence kept Indiana's momentum alive, especially during a crucial stretch late in the third quarter. Her makes didn't just add points, they shut down any hope Chicago had of swinging the game back in their favor. Coach Stephanie White has talked all season about her team's depth, and games like this prove why it matters. The Fever weren't relying on one or two players. They unleashed a full rotation of contributors who knew their roles and executed flawlessly. Even without their biggest star, Indiana looked every bit like a playoff-ready team. This wasn't luck. This was preparation, culture, and chemistry on full display. While Indiana looked like a team on a mission, Chicago looked completely lost. The Sky dropped their 5th straight game, falling to a dismal 7-18 record. Their playoff hopes are barely hanging on, and it's clear the team has no real identity or direction. Even more concerning, the post-game comments coming from inside their own locker room. Coach Tyler Marsh sounded defeated. He admitted teams have figured out how to expose Chicago's weaknesses and called out his players for not sticking to the game plan. That's not a small issue. That's a team unraveling. Then there's Rachel Baum's brutal honesty. After the loss, she said the squad had a screw-it mentality heading into the game. That's not exactly the kind of mindset you want on your biggest promotional night of the season. This isn't a rivalry. It's a slow collapse disguised as one. Chicago keeps trying to fake the magic. Indiana keeps reminding them why it's not working. And through all of it, Caitlin Clark didn't even play a single minute. Yet somehow, she was still the biggest star in the building. While recovering from injury, Clark spent over 20 minutes before the game signing autographs, moving from section to section around the United Center, making sure Chicago fans, got a moment with her. Security tried to move her along, but she kept going, even while wearing street clothes. That's the kind of presence you can't teach. That's star power. Think about it. This was supposed to be Angel Reese's night. A whole event was planned around her, but she didn't play, and Clark, on the bench, still stole the show. Hundreds of fans lined up for her. They wore her jersey. They cheered when she walked by. And while the Sky crumbled on the court, Clark built deeper loyalty without taking a single shot. It's a reminder that impact isn't always about stats. Her leadership, even from the sidelines, boosts the Fever's confidence. Her connection with fans makes every away game feel like a home crowd. And when she does return, fully healthy and game ready, this Indiana team already dangerous becomes nearly unstoppable. The Indiana Fever aren't just stacking wins, they're building a future. With this latest victory, they improved to 14-12, now sitting 3rd in the Eastern Conference and just 2 games behind Atlanta. And here's the wild part, they've done all of this without their best player on the floor. While Caitlin Clark rehabs and regains her rhythm, the Fever have been quietly proving they're more than just a one-star show. They've developed chemistry, built confidence in their depth, and learned how to win in pressure situations. Players like Mitchell, Timpson, Bibby, Hull, and Boston are stepping up night after night, and it's paying off. This is what a real contender looks like. Battle-tested, balanced, and dangerous even without their headline name. And once Clark returns fully healthy, Indiana won't just be good. They'll be a serious playoff threat. Meanwhile, Chicago is stuck hoping that themed nights and promotional hype can mask deeper issues. The gap between these two franchises keeps growing. Indiana is ascending, developing talent, and playing as a unit. Chicago is scrambling, trying to find answers while their season slips away. The truth is clear now more than ever. The Fever aren't waiting for the future, they're becoming it. Barbie Night was meant to be a celebration for Chicago. Instead, it turned into a statement from Indiana. The Fever didn't just win, they exposed the truth. This isn't a rivalry. It's a mismatch dressed up by media hype and flashy promotions. While the Sky keeps selling storylines, the Fever keep delivering results. Kelsey Mitchell made history. Michaela Timpson showed she's a rising star. Chloe Bibby stepped in and made an immediate impact. Aaliyah Boston continued doing everything everywhere. And Caitlin Clark, she didn't play a minute and still owned the spotlight. Meanwhile, Chicago was left answering tough questions about chemistry, effort, and identity. Their biggest night of the season ended with social media calling it Fever Night. Their fans cheered louder for the visiting team. Their players admitted defeat before the game even started. This game didn't just shift momentum, it told the whole story. One team is building something real, the other is hoping for magic that isn't coming. If you're fired up about the Fever, drop it in the comments. Like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one, because this Indiana team is just getting started.